All right, what's up, y'all? This is Push Press Live. We are coming here today to talk about intake programs and the CrossFit athlete life cycle. Just a quick mic check. Make sure you guys can hear me. If you can, just write a comment. Write a comment in the stream real quick. I'm gonna double check on my phone. See. Cool. All right, so it looks like it's working for me. All right, well, I'm just going to get started. If you're not here on the program live, I will. This will be saved so you can reference it at any time. But as you guys hop in and you get a chance, feel free to post questions and let me know if there's anything I need to clarify. So. All right, so today's topic, Push Press Live, it's all about intake programs. These are the parts of your gym where you bring people in. So it could be your first visit, it could be your foundations program, it could be a variety of different ways of free trial class. It just all depends on the culture of your gym and what you're really trying to achieve there. So I've been open since April of 2013. This is my 4-year anniversary, and we have literally tried everything. I mean, I don't think there's any one stone unturned in our business, but we've tried everything. And I'm going to share with you kind of at the end of the presentation what we do and why we feel it works best for us. But that's for kind of each of you to decide how you want to run your gym, what kind of resources you have available, and the experience that you want to provide your athletes. So with that, let's flip to the next screen. There we go. All right, so I think the very first thing to really understand is what is the CrossFit athlete life cycle? And I've written about this on my blog a couple different times. And the athlete life cycle is really the journey that somebody has with you as a member. So that's from the first time they ever heard about CrossFit or first time they ever heard about your gym to engaging with your brand, coming in, experiencing it, maybe making a purchase and becoming a member, and then going into other ascension or other programs or products and services that you offer, and then hopefully at the end become a advocate and a promoter. So, this is the same thing in all businesses. All businesses have this experience. All businesses go through these stages, and some businesses might have more steps. But this is how I feel the athlete or the customer, the client that comes to our gyms, this is kind of what they go through. So let me just write you through an example. So, for example, awareness might come from a referral. An awareness might come from a Facebook ad or a blog post, or if you're doing podcasts or videos or anything like that, that's awareness. That's awareness for your brand. That's awareness for your business. Or, it could be the CrossFit games on ESPN, or it could be anything that somebody finds out about your program, your gym, and the things that you offer. The next step is really engaging them. So a lot of times people will take a look at something and maybe not make a decision right away, but they're aware of it. So next time they consider, hey, I need a personal trainer, hey, I need a gym to get healthy, to get fit, they may consider, think about your gym or your brand, and that's where you really, really want to be. So engaging really means posting relevant content consistently so that people are maybe interacting with your brand, doing the likes or shares or just consuming the content. We'll never truly know how much it impacts people or what they see, but people may take a long time. They may take months and years to actually make the decision. I've heard that many times in our gym where somebody has come in and I said, hey, how'd you hear about this? Well, I've been following you on Instagram for the last few months. Okay, well, cool. So that content's relevant. So that's how we engage those people. Next is a trial. So the trial is an important step. This is really, they get the first taste. So the trial could be a one-on-one consultation, It could be a free class. It could be something where you get them to commit their time to before they purchase. Now, you will get people who skip a level, and in any of these, any of this journey, any of these steps, you can skip one, maybe two levels, but you can't skip all. You can't skip multiple ones. Somebody could come in and see your gym, and then maybe they skipped the awareness phase or they skipped the engagement phase, but they're not going to be able to jump more than two on any of these steps. So they come in for a trial. They come in for their first experience with you at your gym. That could be visiting. That could be consultation. That could be the free class, whatever, a bring a friend day. And that's their first experience. So from there, that's when they do the purchase. So that's when they become a member. That's when they buy a program. That's when they buy a service. There's something where they make a purchase. For us, for example, some people come in and do our in-body body composition machine, and that's their first purchase. That's a low barrier offer. It's not as much as our memberships, but it's a way for people to make that small commitment. The ascension phase is really about maximizing that person, the value that person brings to the gym, in the sense of, I would say mostly financial, but ascension basically meaning them purchasing maybe a recurring membership, not just a punch card, or they're purchasing additional PT sessions, or they're going to your nutrition program, or doing athlete follow-ups, or anything related to increasing the average client value. So ascension through something like one of those programs. There's tons of ideas out there. And then finally, the goal is to create, raving advocates or brand ambassadors for your programs. That's people that just eat, live, breathe your gym, not just CrossFit, but your gym, your brand. And that's really where you want to get people to be. And these people refer, they're active promoters. And that's really what we're trying to create with the experience, the athlete journey in our gym. And that's where you guys should try as well. So let's look at next. So let's just kind of go through. We're going to go through a couple examples, talk about some pros, talk about some cons, and see what works best for you in your gym. So free trial class. We used to do a free trial class every Monday at 6 p.m. And Mondays at 6 p.m. were great. It was really easy for us that, hey, we're going to advertise Sunday night and Monday day that, hey, come join us for a free trial class. It's a way for you can get a taste of the experience at our gym. So we would run them through, a what is CrossFit presentation. We would then teach them how to squat, and then we would let them do a short little, quick Metcon. And this is great. We would have weeks where we'd get 10, 15 people, especially like at the beginning of the year. Then we would have weeks that we would do nobody. So we're always going to have it on our schedule, and it's a consistent thing, and it was easy to market and easy for people to find. But we realized, for us, that it wasn't the experience and the level of service that we want to provide our members. We want to provide our members a really higher level experience, not just hey, get a taste of CrossFit. Because we're not, our gym is a coaching facility. It's not for lack of a better term, like a body pump class. So we thought, hey, this changes our brand by the brand that we're trying to establish and the brand that we're trying to live by doing a free class. We really wanted to focus on the client experience, and we didn't think this was the best. And the cons are, hey, you schedule. I used to always do this class because I always wanted to be the first person that somebody met in the gym. But when nobody shows, you're sitting there waiting. It's 5:45, it's 5:50, 5:55, and 6 o'clock rolls around, and then nobody shows up, and that's kind of deflating as well. And then you think something's wrong because you're not getting enough people in the door. So that's kind of our experience with free trial classes. Next is a monthly on-ramp or fundamentals. So the nice thing about this is it's a monthly event. And so you can really spend about a good week or two really advertising and promoting, hey, this is an upcoming event and we're really excited. Come learn how to do CrossFit. the great thing about this is, you only have to worry about once a month you're intaking new people, or you may combo this with like a one-on-one fundamentals. And that's nice. That's awesome. But the problem, what happens is, what if it's week number 3 and somebody wants to join your gym? Then that person has to wait another couple weeks to get started. And I always thought, hey, when people make decisions, especially fitness decisions, a lot of times they're doing it when they are in some kind of emotional state. We get a lot of intros requests from people at like after 9 o'clock at night, which is really, really interesting. Which I'm guessing people are sitting on the couch and they're maybe just, starting to think about their day, or maybe fed up that they couldn't do something, or I'm not really sure exactly what the psychology behind it is, but people are really making that decision. And it's an emotional decision. So we always try to get back to them super quick. So monthly on-ramp fundamentals, I think, are good, and they work for a lot of gyms. And you can really have a set program which you put people through. But it's like I said, there are some cons to it as well. The other thing that kind of stinks about monthly on-ramp or fundamentals is what if it's a bad month and you only bring 2 or 3 people in? Then you're not going to give that class experience that people would love to have. They're not going to get that when you're only working with 2 or 3 people, as you guys know, if you're a coach, that's hard. Sometimes it's hard to maintain that level of energy just with those 2 or 3 people, consistently. So, the other thing too is schedule. I didn't write this down, but that's another consideration is, if you offer monthly on-ramp and it's only at 6 p.m., that's not a great experience for the client, because what if that person works till 7? Well, they're never going to be able to do your monthly on-ramp. So there are some limitations with that. Next is what we tried was a 2-week open enrollment foundations, which is really, really cool. And I think, I'm not really sure where I came up with the idea, but I think it was something I just started thinking through. Well, if we did the monthly on-ramp or every 2-week on-ramp, that wasn't the best experience. So I wanted people to be able to jump in. So we kind of did a combo program with a weekly free class on Mondays at 6. And that Mondays at 6 was always teaching the basics or the fundamentals of the squat, teaching you about CrossFit. As well as that's also the day 1 and day 4 of our 6-day foundations. So our people met Monday, Wednesday, Thursday at 6 p.m. for 2 weeks. And on day 1, which was our squat day and what is CrossFit day, and day 4, it's the same thing. We're the exact same class. Day 2, which was Wednesday, 1 week was the push week. So push or press, push press, and push jerk. And then that would have been day 5. Day 5 was our pull week. So it would be deadlift, sumo deadlift, high pull, and med ball clean. And then day 6, 1 week was gymnastics and 1 week was Olympic weightlifting. So this was really nice because people could literally get started any Monday, and there's people that were a week in their foundations when new people were starting. So there was always a combination of people enrolling in the gym, and there was always like, hey, I just finished foundations, I'm getting started in the gym. I'm going to start coming to this class, and then like a week later, their friend that they met the week prior is now joining them as well because they just got finished. So. But it is a dedicated class. It does, eat up the schedule. And then it always happened to us. There would be weeks where we would not have anybody. And so we would finish up the previous class in their 2 weeks. And then we would have a week where nobody showed up. And so we just had, those 3 hours I had scheduled out, and we weren't able to maximize that coach's time. And the other thing is, for us, we started doing a primary coaching program. And what that means is basically our coaches are assigned to a client list, and their clients, they're responsible for their clients and the success of their clients. So our primary coaches, we had a problem with when people finish foundations, they didn't meet with their primary coaches, and that's that's mainly how the coaches are compensated. And so coaches or people would come into classes and be in classes for maybe a month or two and wouldn't have met their primary coach. And yeah, we probably could have tightened up that system a little bit, but people were falling through the cracks, and that's kind of the problem I see with in the group foundations model is people. It's a lot easier for people to fall through the cracks because if you're bringing in, in a month we'd bring in 20 new people some months and 30, and people would fall through the cracks, and if we didn't have a great system, so. Here's another program that we have introduced, and this is one that actually works really, really well for us because it does give us a big intake of new members every 6 weeks, and it's enough that it keeps filling kind of our funnel. It keeps filling our members coming in, and it keeps filling our our program. In my case, I'm in a big college town, so we have a lot of turnover with college students. We have a lot of turnover with young professionals. They'll be here for 6 months, 8 months, and then they move and get a new job. So we developed a 6-week boot camp program where we spend about 2.5 weeks of advertising. We schedule a lot of people to come in and interview with us, and then from there we get them set up with the 6 weeks. After the 6 weeks, they still do our foundations program. They still go through that process, but we're bringing in a lot of revenue right off the bat, as well as teaching people a lot of the fundamentals of CrossFit. So it's kind of like an on-ramp, but structured just a little bit different. So there are some cons to this. It is an event that occurs every 6 weeks or every month, depending on how people set it up, which is nice because then you can put a lot of marketing effort on those 6 weeks, and that's the most important thing, 2 weeks leading up to that. However, it's easy to miss people, and if people don't want to get started with your CrossFit program right away, maybe they want to do this, they're going to be waiting for a month or 6 weeks or however long until that starts again. And we've seen that happen many times. The other thing is, how do you integrate these people into your culture? So I'll tell you an example. In our January session of our boot camp, I think we had like 27 people that did it. And when that was over, we had 18 that wanted to jump right into CrossFit. The rest of them either did another boot camp or they left the gym. And so we had to schedule out individual foundations with 20 people, and I had 4 coaches that could do it. So that was 5 per coach. I had people, it took about 3 weeks from the time they finished their boot camp till they were able to get into their one-on-ones with their coach. So that's a con, in my opinion. It was great for the coach, and their coach felt busy, but it wasn't a great experience for the athlete. And that was my, that's kind of what drives me in my gym is what kind of experience are we providing our athletes each and every day. So yeah, that's some consideration. But I highly, highly recommend some type of boot camp enrollment program because financially it's a good decision. And you get to introduce a lot of new styles of client that maybe CrossFit doesn't naturally attract. And then the last one I want to kind of look at is the individual intro or consultation. So what I love about this, it's a very, very high level for the client experience. So people are scheduling intros with the coach. It's establishing the coach as a professional. And when they come in, we get to know the person individually one-on-one. And it starts that relationship out really, really well. So the coach gets to know the person. They get to know why they're here, what's motivating them, and we also get to know maybe any health concerns or any other issues that we need to know so we can properly get them ready to join our group environment. Some of the con side, which I think I can fix this, but it requires a lot of communication. So if somebody inquires on the website, my standard is 2 hours. Within 2 hours, we contact them once, and then within 24 hours, we're contacting them twice, and hopefully we're scheduled with them. It requires a lot of time. If you're only getting a couple per week, it's not too bad, but if you get 5 to 10 per week, and then you're trying to schedule those out with multiple coaches, it can take some time. And so it just requires a lot of communication with the client to get them in the door, and a lot of coordination between your coaches. But in my opinion, this is the best experience that you can provide your athletes. You can really give them a plan for success, and help understand why they're choosing your gym. So, and then from an owner standpoint, managing this is there's pros and cons. On the one end, if your coaches are doing their job and you trust them and they're excellent, you don't have to worry about anything. You just let it run, and it works really, really well. On the other hand, if your coaches are not doing their job or not being consistent, or have other priorities in their life for whatever reason, then then people can fall through the cracks. And we've gone through ebbs and flows at my gym of killing it and doing a great job, and then also where I have to sit down with one-on-one with a coach and say, hey, what's going on? Why aren't we providing the service that we want to provide? And kind of recoach them and retrain them to get them kind of up to the standard. So lots of considerations for the individual consultation. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about a thing we call the Como method, and this is just how people join CrossFit Como. And we have a couple intake programs, which I kind of explained already, but I'm going to walk you through this. So for our CrossFit program, which is our flagship program, this also works with personal training. I didn't put it on the screen though. First, it starts with awareness. So that's just people discovering our gym. We do that through Facebook ads. We do that through blog posts, content that we create, as well as Instagram posts, et cetera, et cetera. Just referrals and stuff like that. So we just try to fill the funnel as much as we can, and to get people to inquire on our website. Sometimes that's just through our email list. Other times that's through our one-on-one getting started, info form. From there, once we get their information, they submit it, we schedule out a one-on-one intro. So I assign our coaches through push press through the lead system. I assign our coaches then reach out to people and get them scheduled for their first visit. Once we get them in the door, it's about a 95% close rate. It's more like 96, almost 97%. We don't really have many people that once they come in the door, they don't sign up for a foundation. So what you see here is this, just like I shared in the, CrossFit at the Lifecycle, we're stepping them through this journey. We start everybody off with 3 foundation sessions. This is where we teach them the 9 foundational movements, gymnastics, weightlifting, and a couple other topics like what is CrossFit, nutrition, etc. Now, 3 sessions to do all this in is a lot. And we use a lot of the movements, like a kettlebell swing, for example, as part of like the warm-up. So we'll teach some movements, and we'll see kind of where people are. After the 3 sessions, the coach and the athlete are going to sit down and discover or talk about, what are the next steps? Do they want to continue individual sessions? Are they ready for classes? Do they want to go to classes? Or are they, where are they at in their journey? And so we have some people we're able to say, okay, let's go to group classes, but let's meet in a week or 2 and do an individual session. For others, I've had a guy go through our foundations program for like 3 months. And it just kind of depends on the individual, where they're at, how they move, and how quickly they learn. Because if somebody learns pretty quickly and they're a pretty good mover, we might put them in classes after those 3 sessions. Others, like I said, could take 3 months. So once they get into our classes, then we schedule follow-ups. So this is called like a hybrid membership, which you've probably seen. A lot of groups like MadLab promotes and other business consultants. But this is where they go to group classes and then they meet with their coach every so often. So these follow-ups for us sometimes are personal training sessions. Sometimes these are, hey, let's go out to have lunch. And there's just a variety of those. And we charge for most of that, either as a part of the membership or as a personal training session. It just kind of depends on what that looks like. We also offer memberships that have that stuff built in. So you meet with your coach every month, every 3 months, or every 6 months is our minimum. So at least once every 6 months, the coach is reaching out and say, hey, how are things? So yeah, that's kind of how our CrossFit program works. For our 6-week challenge, this is kind of our boot camp. We've rebranded it to be called a challenge. We did that about 6 months ago. Same thing, awareness. We primarily do this through a Facebook ad, and we also have a nice landing page video. They then schedule an interview, so we have set interview times. Right now it's 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., so they can do 5 p.m. or 5:30, and then there's a couple a.m. times as well. Then they sign up and they do the 6 weeks. Once they finish the 6 weeks, in the last 2 weeks, the week 5 and week 6, we're really talking about CrossFit, really talking about the next experience, and getting people scheduled to meet with a coach. So they tell us, hey, we want to do CrossFit. As soon as they tell us that, I assign them to a coach in the lead system, and then the coach is reaching out, and sometimes they're doing their foundations program with the athlete while they're still doing our 6-week challenge program. And really the difference between our 6-week challenge and what we learn in foundations is primarily the weightlifting movements. So we really don't teach weightlifting in the 6-week challenge just because it requires so much time. So that's really where we kind of fill in the gaps. So that's what I really call our foundations program for those 6-week challenge members, is to fill in the gaps, excuse me, that we don't do during the challenge. So this system works really, really well for us. It's a part of our culture, and it's taken a while for us to get all of our coaches on board. We started this in October of 2015, so it's been about a year and a half of doing, kind of this personal primary coach program, bringing on the challenge, do these individual foundations. And now what I love about it is our coaches, our culture is that individual attention. And we're doing more PT work, we're doing more follow-ups, doing more nutrition counseling, and our members are loving it. We're providing a better experience. Our coaches are making more money. The gym is making more money. And everybody has a lot more flexible work environment, and they're all invested in the success of the gym. So I highly, highly recommend looking into that. And if you want some help or you're interested, reach out to me. I'd be happy to kind of share with you our experience and how we kind of have it set up. So so with that, that is the conclusion of my presentation, about intake programs and how those work and some considerations. So it doesn't look like anybody's on at the moment, or maybe they are, I just can't see because of my chat. But I'll stick around for a few minutes. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to share those with you. Or answer any of those, and I'll post this video here in the Facebook group so you guys can review it anytime, and I'll answer any questions. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks again for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to share this info with you all. I can link the presentation if you guys want to take a look at that. It's just a Google presentation. So I'll link that in the comments, and you guys can review kind of the things I wrote. And then if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out and be happy to help. Oh, Clark okay. Hey, Clark. That's a really good question. So the question or the comment is, in the one-on-one model, what is the pay split between gym and coach? For us, we do between 30 and 45% of that person. So that's from their intro, intro foundation sessions all the way to actually becoming a member and part of their membership revenue. So you really just have to kind of establish what those percents look like, what makes best sense for you and your gym, and how much you're charging as well. So, there's, my background is in food service, and we talk a lot about margin. And in a really well-run food business, you might pay 30% for labor, 30% for food, and then plus or minus 5 to 10% each way, depending on the type of business that you are. And So if we could get it to 55 to 60% between our food costs and our labor costs, that's a really successful restaurant. That gives you 35% available to pay all your bills, pay your overhead, et cetera, et cetera. So I take that similar approach in our gym. If I can keep my labor under between 40 and 50%, that gives me 50% of the revenue that comes in toward paying our cost of goods sold, as well as our lights, our overhead, and then the salary and profit that we need to take. So that's kind of how we do it at our gym, and that's what works. I think works really well for us. We need to work. I think the one thing we need to work on is maybe get our average client revenue up a little bit. But yeah, just really what I would recommend is have some ideas, some ranges for those percentages based on education, based on responsibilities. Our coaches that are on the higher end of that 40% range, they're required to coach 10 classes a week minimum, and do so many personal training sessions and so many intros, as well as create content and do other responsibilities like clean the gym and other admin work like do all the billing and communication with clients, etc. So that's what works best for us. But yeah, you just have to kind of clearly establish what that looks like for each of those people. And I'll tell you this, it's been amazing now that all of my coaches are on this method, and all my coaches are being paid as a percentage of revenue. They actually care a lot more. It's more of a career path for them rather than, hey, it's fun, let's come in, I'll coach my class and I'll work out, have a good time with my friends, and then, I'll leave, and then all of a sudden, hey, there's no toilet paper in the bathroom, there's no, the kill cliff wasn't restocked. That doesn't happen that often in my gym anymore. If a coach sees that stuff, they go and do it. Or I have coaches that come in on the weekends sometimes and they'll clean the floors just because that's the pride they have in the gym. So that's why we pay our coaches that way. So I hope that helped. I'll like I said, I'll link up this presentation if you guys want to take a look at it. It's pretty short and sweet, but let me know if you guys have any other questions, or feel free to shoot me a note. So thanks a lot. Have a good day.